Mark and Lisa had been married for 6 years, but their relationship had become strained. For a long time, they'd been trying unsuccessfully to have a baby. Month after month, year after year, they faced the same disappointing outcome. They had visited various doctors, gone through tests that showed no clear answers, and tried countless vitamins and medications. Lisa became obsessed with getting pregnant, and it started consuming her life. Meanwhile, Mark grew increasingly frustrated with all the doctor's appointments. Instead of enjoying the conversations they once had, all Lisa wanted to talk about was fertility and health. When Mark tried to change the subject, she would become irritated, and the tension between them grew. One day, Mark had finally had enough. "I'm not going back to another doctor," he said. "This is pointless. Our tests are fine. This should happen naturally." Lisa, already on edge, took his words as a personal attack and insulted him in return. They spent the rest of the evening in silence. The following month was the worst their relationship had ever been. They only communicated about household matters, and Lisa was bitter and distant. Everything Mark did seemed to annoy her. To escape the tension at home, Lisa began spending more time with her girlfriends. One afternoon, she arrived at a cafe where they had planned to meet about half an hour early. She ordered coffee, sat by the window, and flipped through a magazine. That's when she noticed a tall, confident man walk in. He was Dave, a dark-haired professional in a sharp suit, carrying a leather briefcase. After placing his order, he sat at the table next to hers, and they struck up a conversation. Her friends were running late, so she and Dave ended up talking for nearly an hour before he had to leave for a business appointment. They exchanged numbers, and over the next couple of weeks, Lisa didn't seem as miserable at home, but she was still emotionally drifting from Mark. She responded to his questions with short replies and spent more time with her girlfriends. Mark had no idea that Lisa's personal life had taken such a dramatic turn. Eventually, Mark realized Lisa wasn't going to apologize for the fight. Wanting to make things right, he decided to extend an olive branch. "Lisa, I get it. This is important to you. I want a child, too. I'm sorry for what I said. Let's get away together. Just the two of us. I've been looking at some vacation packages." Lisa was surprised. He was the first to apologize, and she was moved by his suggestion to spend some time together. She apologized as well, agreeing that their marriage was worth another chance. After everything they'd been through, why should they throw it all away over one argument? In the days that followed, Mark became extra sweet. He showered her with affection, and the spark between them reignited. Lisa thought about Dave during this time, and how she had gotten involved with him out of hurt and resentment. She realized she needed to cut ties with him for good. A few days before the planned trip with Mark, Lisa agreed to meet Dave for coffee. He suggested their favorite hotel, but she chose a simple cafe instead. After some small talk, she blurted out that she wanted to end things. "Dave, I'm sorry, but our relationship was a mistake. I love my husband." Dave, who had known she was married, was clearly taken aback. "Where is this coming from?" he asked, his voice calm but tinged with surprise. "I thought we had something here." Lisa explained that she had been confused when they first met and had truly believed she was done with Mark. Dave didn't take the news well. His anger flared as he said, "So that's it? I'm just a toy you play with for a month and then toss aside." "Dave, please understand," Lisa pleaded. "I was hurt when we met, and I made mistakes. But I'm with my husband. I want to be with him." Dave's face twisted with frustration and bitterness. He raised his voice for a moment before stopping himself, his fists clenched. "So that's it, huh? Goodbye, then," he said, the words full of anger. "Have a nice trip with your husband." Lisa felt uneasy, but she told herself it was over. She blocked his number and deleted their texts, figuring that Dave didn't know her address and wouldn't do anything drastic. Lisa set her focus on her upcoming vacation with Mark. The 2 weeks they spent at the beach felt like a second honeymoon. Before they even married, they had never enjoyed this kind of carefree time together. They relaxed in the sun, strolled to the town, tried new restaurants, and spent romantic evenings in their room. It felt like a fresh start, and the tension between them almost vanished. Reinvigorated and happy, they returned home and settled into their routines. Then, one day, Lisa began to feel off. Realizing she was overdue, she took a pregnancy test on her lunch break at work. When she saw 2 pink lines, tears filled her eyes. After all their struggles, she was finally pregnant. She couldn't wait to share the news with Mark. The moment she finished work, she hopped in a taxi and hurried home, imagining how thrilled he would be. But when she stepped into their apartment, she was met with a completely different scene. Mark was sitting in the kitchen, hunched over his phone, with his head in his hands. When he saw her, he looked up with an intense gaze. "Sit down," he ordered, pointing to the chair next to him. Lisa's stomach sank. She obeyed, noticing that Mark had placed his phone on the table, displaying a photograph. Her heart dropped when she recognized the man in the picture, Dave, smiling against the backdrop of a bed. And there on the bed was Lisa herself, naked and seemingly unaware as if asleep. She hadn't realized Dave had taken any photos. Tears streamed down her face as her body went numb. "Got anything to explain?" Mark asked, his voice cold and steady. "Mark, no, it's not what it looks like. It's some kind of mistake," she stammered, her panic rising. Mark, looking unimpressed, responded, "Dave sent this to me today. He wanted to graciously inform me about your little fling that's been going on for over a month, and that you plan on leaving me." Lisa sobbed, insisting it was all lies. In desperation, she confessed she was pregnant, hoping that would make everything okay. "I'm pregnant, Mark." Mark stared at her icily. "Be sure to give my congratulations to Dave," he said, his voice harsh. "Now get out of my home." Lisa kept pleading for forgiveness, but her words only seemed to fuel his anger. Soon enough, he was tossing her clothes into a suitcase, forcing her to leave. The divorce followed soon after. Mark simply couldn't trust a woman who had betrayed him like that, and Lisa knew it. She had cheated and tried to bury it all, hoping it would go unnoticed. Life in a marriage is tough, and sometimes things don't go smoothly. But if the first solution you turn to is running into someone else's arms, it's a choice, and it comes with consequences. Betrayals rarely stay hidden, and when they do come to light, the price is always high.